Hey there, everyone. It is me, Mr. Gaming Guitarist, and of course, I have to keep up with being consistent. So here I am once again making a video, and the funny thing is, I get way more views when I'm just talking, just freely expressing my mind while I'm driving. I get way more views doing this than I do with even anything related to me playing guitars or video games. So it's pretty funny because I've been contemplating making a second channel and putting all the stuff that this whole channel was about, just moving that over to a second channel. I don't know, let me know if you want that or not. It's just something I'm brainstorming about currently. But the main thing that I want to talk about in this video is I want to talk about wrestling. I want to talk about the WWE, because I was not a WWE fan at all. Like, I liked it, a little bits here and there that I've seen, but I was so ignorant to it that I had no idea that the WWE was scripted until 2014. Like, I thought that when I would see like thumbnails of Hulk Hogan fighting the Ultimate Warrior, I thought those were like fights the same way you would look at a boxing match or an MMA match. I just thought it was the same thing, except with wrestling, they're just picking people up and throwing them around. I had no idea it was scripted, so that really broke my brain, because this was back when I was in college and at the Art Institute, and I remember we had to, for our writing class, when we still had to take those, everyone would read their presentation, and there were I believe 2 or 3 guys in there that were talking about their love for wrestling, and they talked about how much they love the stories. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what the fuck do you mean stories? Like, what story? What the hell's going on here? And that was when, also at the same time, I found out that the Ultimate Warrior passed away, and I didn't know anything about Warrior at all. I mean, I still don't know a ton about him, but all I knew is he had to be taking a ton of Popeye spinach, because how the hell does he just sprint all the way to the ring without stopping? Like, that was just so crazy. And the way he was just constantly yelling and screaming in all his promos, that's when I started to learn, okay, there are promos. Okay, all right. So then I started to learn about him, and then I saw, really the very first match I ever truly saw, now understanding the WWE is scripted. The first match I ever saw was when I saw, it was Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior. Because of course, I knew who Hulk Hogan was, but I just didn't know that Hulk Hogan is a character. And I didn't know that his real name is Terry Bollea. I think that's his last name. Bollea, I think. I should know, because I just saw the Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix, but it was such an eye-opening experience learning this. So that planted the seeds for wrestling, similar to how watching the NBA Finals in 2016 with the Cavs versus the Warriors, seeing how it was the first time that the Cavs ever won, and it was the first time Cleveland won a championship, and it was epic, and I loved it. And that was my introduction to Steph Curry, similar to how, okay, I know who the Ultimate Warrior is now. What else is out there? What else is around? But so then I didn't really pay attention to wrestling for a very, very, very long time, but I got more seeds planted. I had the spark to follow it. I had it get planted into my head, because then I remember, because I'm also a big gamer, and I remember watching, well, not as much these days, but I'm planning to make a comeback for it. But anyways, I remember watching E3 2015, and there was just this really cool guy being interviewed at GameSpot with because I would watch Kind of Funny back then, because I used to follow Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty and Nick Scarpino and Tim Geddes. I would watch those guys all the time for gaming coverage. And then all of a sudden I would see them interview this guy, Xavier Woods. It's like, wow, this guy is so enthusiastic about gaming. And I heard he's just now coming up with his gaming channel. So then I saw his name was Austin Creed, but then I saw, why are other people calling him Xavier Woods? What's going on here? Then I found out, oh, okay, he's in the WWE. So all of a sudden I found out he was a part of this group called the New Day with these other two guys, Kofi Kingston and Big E, but I didn't even know about those two until like this year. Like, I only knew who Xavier Woods was. Like, I only knew Austin Creed, and I just knew him as himself, and I just thought, man, this guy is great, has a ton of energy, has a ton of charisma, he's great at hosting stuff. And so I would watch the clips of him as a guest on Kind of Funny, but I didn't actually really start watching Up, Up, Down, Down until later on. So then eventually, flash forward to several years later, and I would watch The Rock, and I saw that The Rock was coming back to wrestling, and I was already a Dwayne Johnson fan by that time. I mean, I think the first movie I ever saw from him was, oh God, I don't even remember. I think the first movie I ever saw with him was, I think it had to be Get Smart. It was the remake of that 1960s TV show, and it had him and what's the guy from The Office, Steve Carell and Anne Hathaway, and I think Jason Statham might have been in that. I don't know, but I remember him in Get Smart. And then but anyway, so I'm a fan of The Rock, and especially like seeing his bond, his friendship with Kevin Hart. So I became a Rock fan, and I know that these days The Rock seems to get a ton of hate, but for me, I wouldn't know about wrestling at all if it wasn't for The Rock, because like when I talk about seeds getting planted, I just remember on TV in the 90s seeing commercials for The Rock and hearing that The Rock is a wrestler. So that was the correlation. And I remember a couple years later, I remember seeing Triple H in a Wendy's commercial and like customizing, talking about how Wendy's had this thing where you could get a Dave's single, a Dave's double, or a Dave's triple, and because he's Triple H, he was eating a Dave's triple stack with 3 patties. So that's how I first found out about Triple H. But anyways, I don't want to get too off track here. So I heard The Rock was coming back, so I saw some clips, and I was really entertained by it. Like, I saw The Rock, I believe it was just a clip of The Rock arguing with Austin Theory, and I didn't really follow it much after that. But then I also saw another clip of Kevin Owens trying to call out Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, I think I heard that Steve Austin came back for that WrestleMania in 2022, but I didn't see it. So I didn't know exactly what went on there, but that was the first time I heard about Kevin Owens. So then that led to me getting introduced to, it introduced me to who Kevin Owens is. And then I learned about Cody Rhodes, seeing that whole press conference for WrestleMania 40, how it was, I believe it started off with The Rock slapping Cody because he told Cody, when you talk about his family, because he was talking about Roman's family, he said, let me see if I can do a good Rock impression. He said, when you're talking about his family, that means you're talking about my family. So now we have a problem. And so the details are fuzzy, but that's when I started to learn about that, and that's when I also found out at the same time that Triple H was pretty much the new guy in charge of creative, because I remember seeing some headlines that Vince McMahon stepped down, but I didn't know anything about the allegations until like a couple days after that. So then anyways, I watched that, I get excited for WrestleMania 41, and then I watched that A&E Roman Reigns biography episode, learn about him, and just learn, wow, Roman Reigns, he's really cool. I like him, he's a good performer. Hence why I bought the Roman Reigns t-shirt for that Black Friday sale. So then I became a massive fan of him and the bloodline, and I wanted Roman to beat Cody so badly because WrestleMania 40 was my very first match, but that's when I also learned about who Sami Zayn was, because I heard rumblings about him, but I didn't actually see him in action until I saw Sami beat Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. So then after that, at first I hated Cody Rhodes until I learned that Cody Rhodes is the son of Dusty Rhodes, and I kept hearing that name around a lot of the time, but I just didn't know who's Dusty. And then I learned about Dusty. I thought, wow, this guy is amazing, and just seeing his background and seeing how he stuck around, and he also, I believe he trained Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. But my mind was blown away by WrestleMania 40, and I was so excited when I saw The Undertaker, because I've seen clips of The Undertaker and liked him, but I never thought I would be able to see him live again while watching WrestleMania. I was not expecting that at all. And then seeing the whole confrontation between John Cena and The Rock again, because I've heard about how legendary their matches were and that rivalry was, and then seeing John just take his hat off, take his shirt off, and then they were just staring each other down. And I am a fan of Cena and The Rock. I know, it's like the Celtics or the Lakers. You're supposed to only like one or the other, but I just love the game. When I watch the WWE now, I'm doing it for the love of the game, the love of the art form, because I just love how it blends sports, like all athleticism, but I also love the entertainment that you have to be an actor and it's on live TV and you can't mess up your lines. And just seeing all that, it completely melted my brain, and I thought, wow, I love this. So I have been hooked ever since, and that's also why, because I would say the New Day were the ones who planted the seeds in my mind to start planting the spark to learn about wrestling. And so I feel like I've got a big connection with Xavier and Kofi and Big E, even though I haven't been watching for that long. It's I was wondering what the hell's going to happen, because they kept arguing over the last 2 weeks, and then I saw what happened with that during that 10th anniversary celebration. They kicked Big E out of the New Day, because I thought Big E was going to be the one to solve them, to be the one to bring them back together. But then once I saw that they kept arguing with each other, I thought, man, does this mean Xavier or Kofi is going to turn heel? And then once I found out they were both turning heel, seeing it unfold as it was happening, the shock that I felt in that moment, because I wasn't there to witness this moment, but the shock I felt was the same shock I felt that I would imagine I would have felt when Brock Lesnar broke The Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania 30. I just don't know, what's going to happen next. But I need you guys to fill me in. Was Kofi ever a heel in the past? Because I have no idea. I've got no clue. Because when I see the New Day, I just imagine it's all about fun and good vibes and positivity. So I have no idea how a heel version of the New Day, only with Kofi and Xavier. With Kofi and Xavier, I've got no clue how that's going to work. But anyways, all I can tell you is, I also got really emotional when I saw John Cena announce his retirement, because even though I haven't been watching wrestling continuously since WrestleMania 40, I still felt that impact. I still felt it. So, yeah, I guess we could say John Cena is the first person, going to be the first wrestler that I will be witnessing retire as I'm watching it, watching Raw and SmackDown Live and the PLEs on Peacock. And I guess we can also say that the New Day is the first time I've ever seen someone, like, seeing people who are like beloved baby faces become heels. So all I can say is I hope I've let my passion come across for wrestling. And for Saturday night's main event, I really want to see Cody Rhodes beat the shit out of Kevin Owens. But I will say, I love that last segment on Raw when Kevin was talking to Michael Cole in his car, and then I just loved when he said, "Now get the hell out of my rental car," and then he rolls down the window, just like how I'm about to do now. He says, "Hey Michael, over here," and then he comes over, and then he just does that, and then just rolls the window as he comes closer. I thought that was pretty funny. And of course, I'm pretty sure Kevin Owens is a nice guy in real life. I understand. These are actors, these are performers playing characters. But all I will say is Dominic Mysterio and Gunther are so good at playing the heel that I just fucking get so livid and angry. Similar to when I see an NBA referee make a bad call. But anyways, I just wanted to get you just talk a little bit about how Mr. Gaming Guitarist became a wrestling fan. Because I'm also making my way back, and I've also got to watch the events of the Montreal Screwjob with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, and I saw them talk about it in the Mr. McMahon documentary. Like, that was some intense stuff. But anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. But if you want to see more vids of me talking about the WWE, please let me know, all right? And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.